Slick.
Wait till that motherfucker start hitting that body.
Yeah.
Alvarez hit
different.
that motherfucker body.
Look how slick. Mike, look how slick he is.
Oh, he's gonna get
in August of 2024 against Israel Madrimov to make him a 4-division champion. That's it. That's all. He hasn't fought since then.
Look, with Crawford, I think gaining too much weight and too much muscle might affect them. If they're thinking of surviving and being able to take a punch and being able to go rounds.
At the press conference, Mike Tyson stood alongside Canelo Alvarez and delivered a strong message to Terence Crawford, claiming that Crawford's size puts him at a major disadvantage. Tyson argued that defeating the Mexican champion would be nearly impossible for Crawford and suggested that the bout holds little appeal for fans. His remarks have intensified the pre-fight buzz, sparking debate over whether the matchup is even worth staging.
That Terence Crawford is simply too small and doesn't have a chance to beat Canelo Alvarez. I am Mike Tyson. He says that this is a fight that nobody calls for. It's just simply too much of a size difference. Shannon Briggs is the believer in styles make fights, skill set, and the skill set of Canelo Alvarez versus the skill set of Terence Crawford favors the skill set of Terence Crawford, not only just to win, but to possibly stop Canelo Alvarez for the first time in his career. Now, Canelo Alvarez is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Terence Crawford is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Terence Crawford is 4-division champion, undefeated, 2-division undisputed champion. Canelo Alvarez is a 4-division champion, 2-time undisputed super middleweight champion, and reigning undisputed super middleweight world champion with a record of 63 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout.
Veteran boxer Gabe Rosado weighed in on the possible showdown between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, expressing doubts about Crawford's punching power. While Rosado praised Crawford's skill set, including his footwork, accuracy, and ring IQ, he stressed that against a physically dominant opponent like Canelo, those qualities might fall short. He noted that Canelo has endured blows from some of the sport's most powerful punchers without being shaken, casting doubt on Crawford's ability to inflict real damage. In Rosado's eyes, the disparity in strength and durability would be one of Crawford's toughest obstacles in this matchup.
So I don't see how Crawford could hurt Canelo, because Canelo's been in there with Kovalev. He's been in there with Bivol. You know what I'm saying? He's been in there with big punchers. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how can a guy that's really a 47-pounder, even though he's up in weight, I don't see how he can hurt Canelo. You know what I'm saying? It just feels completely, because your body is different to absorbing a bigger blow. So, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, when I sparred the guys in the lower weight classes and they hit me, bro, it's like, no disrespect, but it just feels like you get hit with a pillow. It's just different. It could be a murderous puncher at 147. But if I'm walking around 185 and I'm a solid guy and I'm used to fighting guys, you know, with a different kind of power, and I spar a guy that's a welterweight, it feels like a pillow.
Boxing analyst Shobi Adult shared a firm take on the potential Crawford versus Canelo bout, making it clear he doesn't see Terence Crawford coming out on top. He attributed his stance to the differences in size, strength, and fighting style between the two. According to Showbiz, Canelo's vast experience against top-tier opponents in multiple weight divisions has equipped him with the tools to shut down fighters of Crawford's style. While he acknowledged Crawford's adaptability and high ring IQ, he argued that those strengths alone wouldn't be enough to overcome Canelo's power and command inside the ring. In his eyes, Canelo enters a matchup with a clear edge, and Crawford would need something truly remarkable to flip the script.
Spaceman Films. What up, Biz? Who you got? Canelo Crawford.
Yeah.
Got Canelo. I heard the punches that he hit Charlo with. I don't know if Crawford can absorb those punches. I know he's a great man, but a great warrior. When you come from 147 to put on a better fight than Charlo, I mean, I don't even know what that means. I don't know if that means that Crawford is so great and he can do that, or that means that Charlo set the bar so damn low that anybody could do better than Charlo did last night.
Do skill really pay the bill? Because that would be tested.
Pay for bills. That's why Canelo's skillful too.
Renowned trainer Robert Garcia voices concerns over Terence Crawford's plan to add significant weight for a showdown with Canelo Alvarez. Garcia cautioned that rapid or excessive weight gain can negatively impact a fighter's speed, endurance, and sharpness, qualities that are among Crawford's biggest strengths. He warned that the added mass could slow Crawford down, stripping away his usual quickness in the ring. Addressing comparisons between Crawford and Floyd Mayweather, Garcia dismissed them as inaccurate, pointing out that Mayweather never bulked up in the same way to face large opponents. Instead, Mayweather relied on speed and technique to handle bigger fighters. In Garcia's view, the physical toll of competing at a much higher weight could leave Crawford at a disadvantage before the fight even begins.
Look, with Crawford, I think gaining too much weight and too much muscle might affect them. If they're thinking of surviving and being able to take a punch and being able to go rounds, then they're trying to maybe go the distance and they'll be happy with that. But I think Crawford's natural talent, Mayweather had it. You know, you guys were just mentioning right now that Mayweather never needed to gain weight and never needed to be heavy to be able to beat those bigger guys. I think Crawford's skills, we give Crawford a chance because we know how good he is, how, you know, his skills, his speed, his combinations. But if he's gaining so much weight, he might not be able to do those. He might not be able to have those same skills when it comes to his speed, his footwork, because of the weight. So we'll see. You know, I just hope he's not just training and getting big to survive and go the distance, because maybe that's a win for him. Maybe he's thinking, if I go the distance with him, that's a big win for me. So, you know, I just hope not. I expect Crawford to actually pull up some runs and maybe even pull up the fight. But if he's too heavy, too big, he's gonna get hit, and he's gonna have to exchange punches, and that's where the danger comes in.
Gary Antuen offered strong praise for Canelo Alvarez's complete command of his own fighting style. He described Canelo as a boxer who knows exactly where his strengths lie and consistently uses them to full effect. According to Antuen, it's unrealistic to think Crawford could simply dismantle what Canelo has spent years perfecting. From slick defensive head movement to precise counterpunching and punishing body shots, Canelo's arsenal has been sharpened through years of elite-level competition. While Antuen recognized Crawford's adaptability and high boxing IQ, he emphasized that Canelo's ability to dictate the fight and impose his rhythm makes him an exceptionally difficult opponent. Once a fighter reaches a level of confidence and efficiency Canelo shows, Antuen believes breaking that flow becomes nearly impossible.
Canelo, he has mastered his style. Now, typically, Latinos, they got their own style versus melanated black people. Having like more rhythm, more flashiness and panache to their stuff, more swag.
Yeah.
We just fight different than other ethnicities. If you want to throw Amir Khan in there, his ethnicity, he was in and out.
Yeah, that's the European kind of style.
Textbook, you know, but that was his style. Canelo got his style and he mastered it. Terence Crawford cannot take nothing away from him. He's like freakishly good, you know. He go both sides, southpaw, orthodox, you know, and I feel like he adapt well. But it don't take much to get hit, especially these little 8-ounce gloves. He cannot slip up. He cannot slip up. He gonna have to stay set from bing to bing from round 1 to 12, and he better be in shape. I'm talking about like not 12-round shape. I'm talking about like 16-round shape.
Former world champion Chris Algieri shared his perspective on the difficulties fighters encounter when moving up in weight. He explained that adding mass can alter how a boxer performs, impacting timing, footwork, and overall endurance. Algieri pointed out that although Crawford might appear physically larger on fight night, that doesn't automatically mean he'll gain extra strength or punching power. He stressed that competing at a weight you're not accustomed to can be especially challenging when facing an opponent who thrives in that division. While Algieri acknowledged Crawford's elite skill set, he suggested that adapting to a heavier frame could affect his output, particularly in the later rounds, when stamina becomes a deciding factor.
Alvarez. So that's another aspect of that comparison. And yes, you know, to exactly what the champ said, exactly what Abel Sanchez said, you know, you're going to put on weight you're going to be a different fighter. And I can say this even as a fighter as myself. As I've gotten heavier in my retirement, I try and move around the gym. It just feels different. And even when you start camp, you feel different in the beginning than you do at the end. But listen, we're still 4 or 5 weeks away. I don't know exactly what Terence is weighing right now. And even if he does say what he weighs, man, he's gone out there and said he's weighed, all types of crazy numbers just to get media to respond. So it's really not really going to know until the fight and we see these guys next to each other. He might look bigger right now, but he might not be that heavy. He might still be in the range that these guys are targeting for the fight itself. But I will say this, if you look at it historically, Floyd Mayweather, when he fought Canelo Alvarez, Floyd was 36 years old. Canelo was a young man. I think he was 21 or something like that, or 23, under 23, whatever the case may be. Floyd came in how Floyd always comes in. He didn't try to put on weight for that fight. I think he came in 150 pounds, like he always did in his big fights, and even at 36 years old. And it was his speed, it was his technical proficiency, it was his skill and his jab, which is what gave Canelo fits all night long and eventually why he lost 11 rounds to 1. So I don't know that Crawford really needs to be packing on this muscle. And I have actually argued in my own head. I'm like, yeah, but he's older. He's not Floyd. Floyd was 36 when they fought.
A boxing analyst offered a clear-cut prediction, stating he does not believe Canelo Alvarez will lose to Terence Crawford. His argument was simple. Without the power to earn Canelo's respect, Crawford faces a steep uphill fight. The analyst suggested that over 12 rounds, it's unlikely Crawford could endure Canelo's heavy shots, especially given the physical gap between them. With Canelo's proven chin, raw strength, and mastery of controlling distance, the bout could see Crawford struggling to maintain consistent offense. While acknowledging Crawford's achievements, the analyst confidently concluded that Canelo's physical presence and durability will be the deciding factors.
Before Pound was on the undefeated phenom. He said that he sparred Canelo Alvarez. And he hit Canelo Alvarez with his best shot. His best shot, there's a power puncher. Yeah, he's smaller than Canelo Alvarez, but let me further explain. Canelo Alvarez didn't feel nothing. Nothing. And some of y'all gonna be like, but yo, that's Virgil Ortiz, he's smaller. Canelo Alvarez didn't feel nothing with Triple G. Canelo Alvarez didn't feel nothing versus Kovalev. Kovalev killed the man in the ring. Canelo Alvarez didn't feel nothing with Danny Jacobs. Canelo Alvarez wasn't even demoralized by Dimitri Bivol. He just got outboxed. He didn't hurt Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez, you see how we say Iron Mike Tyson? Well, Canelo Alvarez has an iron chin. Terence Crawford. And also, put it this way, after the fight with Jermell Charlo and Canelo Alvarez, and I spoke to Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo basically said that, yo, Canelo Alvarez couldn't feel my punches. I hit Canelo Alvarez with 2 left hook and he didn't even feel nothing. Jermell Charlo was Iron Man Jermell Charlo. The 154-pound undisputed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's not active right now, but we all know he was an undisputed, a knockout artist that got all his belt by knocking out every opponent to become undisputed, ladies and gentlemen. Canelo Alvarez has gotten hit with the most devastating punches in his generation, 175 and 160. Fought the likes of Kirkland that was known for power.
Former boxer and commentator Willie D offered an in-depth assessment of the potential Crawford versus Canelo clash. He noted that Canelo Alvarez holds a youth advantage over Terence Crawford, which can be a major factor in boxing. Alongside age, Willie D pointed out Canelo's height edge, giving him the ability to manage distance and set the tempo of the fight. He emphasized that size and age aren't just statistics. They influence reaction speed, recovery, and a fighter's capacity to take punishment. His breakdown implied that before skills are even considered, Crawford will be entering the ring with multiple disadvantages, making this an especially tough assignment.
It's 34. Bud is 37. So you give that edge to Canelo, because in boxing, youth is a commodity. Height. Canelo is 5 feet 7.5 tall. Terence Crawford is 5 feet 8 inches tall. So you give the slight edge to Terence Crawford right there. The reach. Canelo is 70.5 inches tall. Terence Crawford is 74 inches tall, which gives him an almost 4-inch reach advantage. Their weight, Canelo is a middleweight and Bud is a lightweight middleweight. records. Canelo is 63-2-2, 39 knockouts. Bud is 41-0 with 31 knockouts. Canelo's last fight was a victory over William Skull. It was a unanimous decision on May 3rd, 2025. Bud last entered the ring on August 3rd, 2024, where he defeated Israel Madrimov.
John Ryder, who has shared the ring with Canelo Alvarez, offered a frank evaluation of how a bout between Canelo and Terence Crawford could play out. Speaking from personal experience, Ryder described Canelo's style as one built on steady, calculated pressure, the kind that wears opponents down both physically and mentally over time. He pointed out that Canelo's edge isn't solely in his punching power, but also in his ability to set and maintain a demanding pace while dictating the fight's flow. Ryder observed that even highly skilled and determined fighters often find it difficult to keep up when every exchange tests their stamina and resolve. In his view, while Crawford's technical sharpness and fighting spirit are undeniable, they may not be enough to withstand Canelo's sustained pressure across the championship rounds. Ryder concluded that Canelo's blend of strength, tactical discipline, and big fight experience could be decisive in such a matchup.
I think you just got to watch the Bivol blueprint, the in and out. I mean, a lot of fighters getting stick now for being runners, Tom and Jerry and whatnot. Let's stick to what you're good at. Terence Crawford is an exceptional talent. He's won titles through the weights, undisputed at, 3 weights now. And listen, if anyone can do it, it's him. I think the weight will be too much of an issue. Canelo is a special talent. And I think the weight will play a factor in the fight. But listen, Canelo once done it and made the step up to super middleweight. I would like Crawford to be more at light middle and middle to build into it, but you take these opportunities when they come, and that's what greatness is, chasing it.
Yeah, and I've heard that before. Like some people said if you see him at 154, he fought a Madrimov, and you saw him at Chica Touch. Obviously, it's 2 different fighters. But why do you think he should probably? You think he should have probably taken another fight, maybe at 160 or maybe another one at 168?
He needs to build into it a bit. I think the fight with Madrimov was his first fight at
154.
At 154, and listen, he's still developing and growing into that weight. He could have done with a couple more there, then moved up to 160, but it's all being done as a bit of a rush. So he's not going to be fully. He's not going to have time to put the muscle on to build into the weight, and he's obviously going to do it with the intention of getting back down to 154 and taking on other challenges. So it's not a long-term goal for him to stay there, but like I say, Terence Crawford is an exceptional talent. I remember watching him beat a good friend of mine, Ricky Burns, and it's like since that day I was just, my ears pricked up and I took notice, and every time Terence Crawford boxed, I watched.
While most analysts side strongly with Canelo Alvarez, Coach Anthony delivered a more measured perspective. He acknowledged that Canelo is naturally the bigger man and far more seasoned in the higher weight divisions, but cautioned against overlooking Terence Crawford. Anthony highlighted Crawford's high ring IQ, adaptability, and seamless stance switches as factors that could create unique challenges. He argued that although Canelo has faced many top-tier opponents, Crawford's mix of timing, creative angles, and finishing instinct makes him a genuine threat. In Anthony's view, writing Crawford off completely would be unwise, as his skill set could generate opportunities even against a champion of Canelo's caliber.
Okay, but we have to break some things down into perspective here. First and foremost, Terence Crawford is a very strong 147 pounder. He's not a regular guy. He's not a regular 147 pounder. Another thing is, he's an extremely determined fighter. That guy's a winner. He's cut from the same cloth as the Andre Wards, the Floyd Mayweathers. You only get certain fighters that come across in a decade that have that kind of aura and that kind of determination to win. Now, if we want to break it down fundamentally, don't get me wrong. Canelo is a strong fighter. You know, he's proven himself. He got a great chin. He's fought some of the best fighters that you can ask for. But he's not that much bigger if you ask me. They're about the same size and height. Now, don't get me wrong. He's a little bit wider. He's a little bit, thicker, right? Like, as far as his frame goes. But we got to be honest here, man. He's not that. It's not like we're fighting Benavidez here, okay? We're fighting a guy that he can still get his jab off. He can still use his footwork. He can still use his defense to go ahead and evade some of these punches. You know what I mean? So for me, Terence Crawford is going to be, if Canelo goes in there and underestimates Crawford's strength, that could be a mistake, okay? It only takes a few pounds of pressure to hurt a guy. You don't need to be that big of a guy to hurt a guy. So, you know, at the end of the day, Crawford is a threat as well if Canelo goes in there and overestimates his weight and his size. I've seen bigger guys get knocked out by smaller guys in the gym all the time with headgear on and 16-ounce gloves. So we have to just take a few things into account when it comes to that.
Who do you see coming out on top in this blockbuster matchup? Share your predictions in the comments.